Hello, my name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews. For today I'm having a look at, and I'm going to tilt it very slightly here, Distilled. The stuff in here is a little bit not firm, so it might shift around if I move it around too much. But Distilled, it has arrived. I'm finally doing a review of it. I should have done that a while ago, but I just wanted to play it so much because I actually really like it. The good thing is, I heard on Monday's Board Game Breakfast from Distilled that they are uploading their Distilled review this week, so I am relevant for once. And I'm gonna have to try and get one or two other videos out whilst being relevant, because those others, so Kickstarters that I've recently completed. I mean, just yesterday I picked up, right here, and it's right up there, Casting Shadows. So much stuff for that game. I've opened it up yesterday. I have to get that and Evolution and World Play today so I can get it reviewed. But today's not about those games. Today's is about Distilled, on time relevant. Let's get it to the table and see how it's set up and played. Alright, let's get to it here. Big box, got a little lid. Remove the rule books. I should not need those. So at the top you have a bunch of things here in the first plastic tray here. This one is important, this one is important. This one's not so important for the example, this is a first player token. This one's kind of important. You sort of can pick a color, just grab the two top ones. And then you need two of these as well. And then you need one of these plus one for every player. So just grab the three top ones here, and we're done with this tray. Alrighty then, coins and cubes. This one will come in handy in just a second. Bringing up this one as well, and then we have all the cards at the bottom of this one. So just set up. Needs a bunch of table space here real quick. Alright, let's just put this one here so you can read it. This is a round tracker barrel. Put it at round number 1, of course. Then just set up players over here. This is sort of how your setup will look like. And then you can have the truck right here. And I've forgotten to bring in my playmat, but I actually have a playmat fitted for these ones. But whatever. And then put this one on top here, and then you're gonna sort of have the cubes and the coin on either side here. I think this might become one of my least in-depth looks. And you sort of have this one up here, these are round, these are goals for you to try and achieve. Alright, let's get into the cards. So, over here you have piles of cards that match up with these. Can you even see that? Barely. Let me zoom out. Oh, that's zooming in. Okay, I can't zoom out anymore. Let's do this. So now you can see everything. Around the goals up here to achieve, and the basic market over here, which is filled with piles of whatever it is. Yeast, water, the 3 kinds of sugar, which is grain sugar, plant sugar, and fruit sugar. And then 2 kinds of barrels, clay barrels and wood barrels. And next up you can choose a distillery chart thing here, which just shows the algos you have. Up here it says a letter. As you can see, this is A, and then it goes all the way to N. A bunch of different charts to use. A is just sort of the starting one. Start off with A here. Bang. Now you can bring out, well, not quite actually, let's quickly do this first. So you can choose a starting player. Let's just pick the 2 top ones. There's like a whole bunch, you can see here, a whole bunch of players. Like there's a lot rebuilding. Anyways, each of these then have as you can see here, a special ingredient. The ingredients for these 2 get lads. Those will kind of be put on the side here because you don't have access to those at the start of the game. Now I need to remember where I put which ingredient. And now we can bring out this here tray. That's the final bit. First of all, we get a little signature thing here, which you put just down here. I hope you can probably see where I put it, but I will show you right here. This is sort of your clipboard here, so you have it at the bottom and the tasting chart here. Bam, and then you bring out the ones for the ones that you have. So, with Chaka, Sochu. Now the rules are the amount of players you are plus one as well. This one's, I believe, or just the amount that you are of players. Whatever. The thing is, we always just play with all of them. But there are rules like it's either the amount of players that you are or the amount of players plus one. I think it's actually just the amount of players you are that you have these ones. So these would only be 2, and that's, yeah, making it a little bit tighter. But we usually don't do that. Like, we just have all of them out. But I of course need to point out the fact that there's a battle for it. Those are the ones from the tasting flight. That's what it's called, just remembered. But 2 things you always can make is moonshine and vodka. And now these will have 2 per player. But again, we put in the entire stack here. And then we of course have, just in case you score that many points, you have these ones to bring out, which shows 50 and 100, in case you get that many points. You have them. And you have a score tracker, which is shaped and in the color of whatever. So this is the red one, and this is the yellow one, which is the 2 colors we have out. And yeah, I can really quick show you blue, white, and green as well. And then we're done with this tray as well. But I'm far from done down here. Alright, so alcohol here will also just be a readily available thing. I'm gonna kind of put it up here, whatever. Flavor cards, looking like this. They will have a shuffle up here and just be placed up here as well. Takes up a lot of space, as you might see. Then you have special items here. Give them shovel, have 4 out at a time here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the pile. You have ingredients up next. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a pile. And of course, some equipment here, slash specialists. Upgrades is basically what they are to your distilling place. Alright, there we go. And final few things. So each person starts off with a metal barrel and just a regular old glass bottle. Everybody starts off with that in their storeroom. These 2 will always go back to you, so you always have access to those 2. And then you will get 3 distillery golds here. And you'll keep all 3 until round 3. At the end of that, you will remove one of your golds. Talking more about what I think about that one in just a second. And there we go, that's everything set up, almost. Because now you check on the back of your cards here, because it will stay your starting resources down here. This person starts off with yeast, water, and 2 coins. So you grab yeast, you grab water, put it in your pantry, and you'll just grab 2 coins. Now, every time there's something about coins, it's just simply the value. So if it's 10 coins, it's just a tenner, right? Yeah, because some people might say, okay, 2 coins. It was actually a 3. Alright, so now we're ready to begin. Well, of course, Mr. Person over here hasn't gotten his starting resources, but I'm of course just going to use 1 as examples. So first off, you have the market phase, where you can purchase things from the market. You have the basic market up here and then the specialty market here. And well, basically you can purchase 2 from the basic market every turn. And over here is just unlimited, whatever you can afford. With me here, starting with 2 coins, I can buy this bottle here, which is nice. And it's a good thing to get bottles because they go into your collection. So this is a jug. And it's better to sell moonshine with this one. So it's actually a really good start.
And then of course we fill it here, so that's a good example of that. And I've paid my 2 coins. Then he takes a turn, then I go in and I say, okay, I need some sugar, so let me grab some sugar. And then he takes a turn, I'm like, let me just grab some more sugar maybe, just so I have it. Then my turn is over. Then we go to the distill phase. By the way, another thing you can purchase, I always forget to explain this, is access to other recipes here. So you can see you have slots over here for recipe cubes. Those are the cubes. They have a color, it's gold, silver, bronze. They cost 2 for bronze, 4 for silver, 6 for gold. And you get access to these recipes simply by taking a cube and placing it in. And now you're ready to make soju in this example. You can always make moonshine and vodka. And once you get your signature ingredient, you can always make your signature recipe. So yeah, I always forget how to explain how this works. That's my big mistake in this game. I always forget how to explain that, because I'm so worried about this. So yeah, good thing to explain that. Anyways, distilling phase. You will always need yeast, which I'm lucky to start off with, and some water in the bottom here. And then in the middle here, you will always need to put in a sugar. Now, of course, I have a jug which is better to sell moonshine with. And moonshine, as you can see up here, because this explains what you need. So moonshine needs no sugar whatsoever. Vodka just needs any kind of sugar. Not completely, but whatever. And then you can see here they need a metal barrel, both these, and do not need to be aged. If you go down here, you can see this one specifically needs 1 or more plant sugar, 2 or more grain sugar. If you have here, you have whiskey, 2 or more grain sugar, and it needs a wood barrel and needs to be aged. You have baijiu, which needs a clay barrel and needs to be aged. I'll take how you age things in just a second. Anyways, I'll just add 1 sugar. And for every sugar, I get to also add an alcohol, and this is how they look. Bam, now that's in my wash bag. I will then take these 4 cards, give them a quick shuffle, totally not cheating whatsoever. And then you remove the bottom card and the top card. So I only have water and yeast in mine, which is whatever. I will then put it, and then you know, now you've done this, I of course remove these ones. They just go back in your pantry. So this is something about the fact that the first bits in your barrel is poisonous. You can't drink it, but you can reuse it and remove the poison from it. Was it venomous? No, it's poisonous when you eat it, right? It's poisonous when you eat it, it's venomous when it attacks you. I believe that's how it is. Anyways, and the back part is usually very bitter, but again, you can recycle it and make it good. So that's very thematic. Not so thematic that you have no control. Anyways, I totally cheated. I check here, what have I made? Well, I have no sugar in it. The alcohol doesn't matter, I don't need alcohol, it's just a very terrible moonshine, because it needed no sugar. So I grab a moonshine label over here, and then of course I bottle it in my moonshine bottle, bam! And place my label on top of it. Wait for my opponent to do the same. Now it's the selling phase. Now look, do I need to sell or do I need to age whatever alcohol? This is a moonshine, it cannot be aged. So therefore I put it on a barrel. It needs a metal barrel. Put it on my metal barrel and I sell it. And how you sell it is you do this. Put it side by side and then you look and you say 1, 2, 3, 4 coins. And yeah, I'm selling moonshine, so I get 2 points as well. I'm yellow over here, so I get 2 points for that. But also the moonshine down here has a value. It has 2 coin values, means I'm getting 6 coins from this sale, and it also grants me an extra point because it's moonshine. Great. The metal barrel returns to my storeroom. The bottle goes like next to me into my bottle collection. The water and the yeast go back to where it belongs. And now I have this one. This one needs to go somewhere up here. Let me just remove these things to just kind of show you where I mean. Closer up on these things right here. As you can see, it fits very neatly just over top there. And this simply gives you something. It's 1 free upgrade, 1 free item, 1 free recipe, 1 free ingredient. All of the recipes, ingredients, are everything over here just for free. Discard 1 card from your pantry, take any 1 card from the truck. Right, the truck. Whoopsie. Anyways, once the selling phase is over, you remove all the bottom cards to the truck here. Move them over. And new cards. So this is how you kind of go through cards. But then you can access whatever is in the truck through that one. And then you can get your signature ingredient. let's say I do that. My signature ingredient here, beer barley. Or you can get 5 coins. And everything can always be subsidized by simply getting 2 points. But usually that's not the best thing to do before the end. But anyways, I'm taking my signature thing here because then I'm going to pretend like I actually have to try to make my signature dish in the next round here. Alright, anyways, move on to the next round and just show the example of if, you know, I make my signature dish. Well, let me grab a yeast. Both the yeast and water has an ability when you take them. Yeast simply gets you a coin, so it's a good one. And water, when purchased, you may reveal the top card of any market deck to all players, purchase it or return it to the bottom of the deck. I don't understand the thing with all players because you're the only one who has access to actually purchase this. But anyways, I'm going to grab some yeast and I'm going to grab a coin. And now, of course, alcohol here can be reused as either water or yeast. So I have yeast and I have water. Pretty simple. Of course, in terms of the monetary value, it would be better for me to have grabbed water, but I wanted the coin, whatever. Alright, let me try and see if I can't make a real good deal here. I'm going to purchase the barrel. I'm actually taking this seriously, you know. I'm going to purchase the barrel there. And then I have a multi-sugar here, which I'm just going to purchase as well. For my last 3 coins here. Alright, and then we're on to the making of this thing. So I'm going to add my things here, and I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4 sugars, which of course means I get to add 4 alcohol. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, great. And then I grab all the things, shuffle them up. Now, of course, I've played this enough. I know I'm going for my signature recipe, which I've mistaken over here. It's actually this one that is mine. This is of course easier when you're not trying to set it up for 2 players. So I'm going for my signature recipe here. Alright, so for the best. That was an alcohol. I'm guaranteed to make it now because as I removed the bottom card, it is a sugar, but I have 3 sugars, which is what I need. 3 grain sugars, which is what I have in here. 3 grain sugars, brilliant. A bunch of alcohol. Anyways, a check on what have I made? Well, I have made my signature dish. Just a dish, my signature recipe. Anyways, distill phase over, selling phase. Well, I don't have anything to sell because this one has to age. So, how do I age? Well, after the selling, now it is the aging phase, where I simply take whatever needs to be aged, put it in the warehouse. And then I add a flavor card. Now normally we just take it, put it on the bottom, and it's kind of fun to read. But my ability with Angus is actually I can draw 3 cards and pick which one I want in. And that gives me the opportunity to show you that they just sort of have here, you know, spicy and a little thing here, petty and a little thing. This is just blank. But most importantly, they have a coin value. So of course I'm going to take the one that gives me 3 coins. Put the rest at the bottom of the deck. And bam. And then every round you decide to age this, it will just get another flavor card and build up on, on flavor, of course. And then at the end you can sell it whenever you want. Like next round I can sell it, but also for every flavor card, besides the money, you get some points. For 1 to 1, 2 gives 3, 3 gives 6, 4 gives 10, 5 gives 15. And I'm very, like if I actually played this game here, I would be very happy because I actually managed to make this one, which is aging, on the second freaking round. That is brilliant. Anyways, that was the second round. Yay. Yeah. The third round, let's just pretend to go through a third round here. I of course now have no money, so I'm kinda fucked. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. And of course, at the end of every round, you check to see, like this is collect spirit laborers from 2 different regions. If you've done that, yay, congratulations. Sell a spirit with 6 or more alcohol. Collect 3 Asian spirit labels. Of course, these right here is regions they're from, and that has something to do with a lot of them. And of course, at the end of round 3, you have to discard one of these, so you can kind of see where I'm at. This is a bottle collection from one of these 2 regions, or have we tied for the most identical non-vodka spirit labels. Interesting. Have we tied for distillery upgrades with the highest combined cost. That's interesting. So yeah, and you remove one of these after round 3. Distillery upgrades up here, I haven't talked about those. They're of course interesting up here. You have room for 3 at a time, but every time you have 3 you can discard one for the monetary value. So I can sort of, if I had this one but I wanted this one instead, get it out of it and pay 1 coin. So some of them are good in scenarios, some of them are just basically good. This gives you a water every turn, at the start of every turn, so that's pretty good. But they all have different abilities which help you throughout the game. Sometimes you can make it good per combo, sometimes you can't. Basically, that's about it. I mean, final scoring of course simple enough. You score your hidden gold, you score if you have any of these. At least we wait until final scoring these. I think the rules are actually you score them right away, but we wait until final scoring, because only one person gets them. Yeah, so you have the points from the game already. You score for hidden gold, you score for that. You score 1 point for every 5 coins you have. Your bottle collection, you score for every bottle of the same region. So you can see this one doesn't have a region, so that's bad. But there's not even anyone down here. But you know, if they have a region, it's shown right here. And then just for the amount you have from the same region, you score some points from that. And you score the points. If I hadn't sold this one by the end, I still score the points. So let's say I had it from the second round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 flavor cards. Just say 5, that's 15 points. Plus 4 points. That's 20 points. That would be 20 points for this one. It is my signature dish, which gives me also 20 points. So that would be 40 points from this one. But of course, if I were to have sold it throughout, that would be 3 coins. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then however much value this would end up to. So I would get, you know, I could get over 10 points. So I could, you know, realistically, I could get like 5 more points from it due to the coins. If I like sold it on the 6th round or the 7th round, depending on what I decided to do in those rounds. But that's a thing to think about. And of course, as I said, if you go above 50, you can just place this here, above 100. I think that's just about it. It's surprisingly, it takes a lot of room and it takes a while to explain it. I don't think I've done a great job of explaining it. But once you get in the groove, it's actually simple enough. But that's all for my final thoughts, and let's get right to those.
Alright, that is the setup and the sort of gameplay. One thing I find with Distilled here, and I also mentioned that I forgot to explain the part, is that there's so many moving parts that I mess up the rules explanation more than I do any other place, but it's not that complicated. Like it's not to say that it's very difficult and very complicated. For some reason, just it messes with me and my rules explanation. But yeah, I played with a guy who had a bunch of questions, and I answered all the questions. And I just said to him, like, that's nice, because those are some things that I don't think about. It's important to explain, but you think they are. So it's good that you ask me questions, so I can answer those questions. And that's a valuable lesson, I guess, in teaching rules, is that, you know, you might not think that something is important, but somebody else does. Always encourage questions when you're teaching a game. That was actually a valuable lesson for me. So yeah, I'm still learning how to teach a game. But anyway, Distilled, the gameplay, let's talk about it. I love it to a large extent. Like, I love the fact that you have basic markets, you always have access to these ingredients, but you're limited. Which I think is good, because there are 3 ingredients in there that are free. And so you have to limit it on that. The other ones cost some money, but so it's a mixture of, like, I like that it's limited on these very inexpensive ones. They're not that good, but like getting a bunch of free ingredients, that's just right. Especially the grain sugar, it's there to help you get started when you don't have a lot of money to get started with making some stuff. But of course you get alcohol from it, which is coins, so you can just really get a lot of things going. So it's there to help you get started, and I love that. So yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that you don't have access to moonshine and vodka all the time. Not overly thematic. I don't know a lot about moonshine. All I know is that it's illegally made alcohol. That's like how I understand moonshine. And the fact that you can make vodka from basically anything, I mean, that's sort of thematic, but you can also definitely add some flavor to it. So, and that I think is really something about the gameplay. It's very, very thematic, but then you have those little, right? Like the washback, adding sugar and all of that, and then you remove some stuff. That's very thematic. They explain what it is, and I did sort of knew. I knew the first part that you can't really use the first part. Didn't know you couldn't use the last part as well. So I learned something new. So that's thematic. The fact that you shuffle up and it's log based, that's not very thematic. You are not putting some stuff in a barrel and then like, I hope it's whiskey, but I might make vodka. That's not gonna happen. So there it is. So that's very thematic, and then there's little parts to it. Of course, the thing with the barrels and stuff. Again, I'm sure it's very thematic. I mean, I know a bunch of things going wood barrels. I know those things, and metal barrels for the other things. I didn't know about clay barrels. This game taught me about clay barrels. So that's nice. But you still have that, like, gin is not being aged, but it is like getting flavors and stuff. So you have a very thematic and then a little bit like and I guess, yeah, that's like the biggest critique that I have of it is, well, for this part at least, is that it's very thematic but also pretty and of course the big public market. The basic market is also there to make sure you don't overly waste a turn, but you might, because the public market might not have what you need. We have set in unlucky positions where it's been all one type of sugar. That's what can happen. It's a shuffle, right? So it's all grain sugars, all plant sugars, all fruit sugars, and then you just fight whenever you get the deluxe alcohol from the expansion or the mixed one or whatever. I have all the things from the expansion. All the things from the expansions are the interesting things that I want to buy in the ingredients list, because those are interesting. The special alcohol, the water springs, the double sugars, the what's it called, the multi sugars, it counts for everything. Those are all expansion things, and those are the ones that I really want to buy. So yeah, you can think of that art you want to. I have to say, the distillery upgrades, I don't use those a lot, honestly. But like, I also look at them and I think, okay, I mean, those are good if I get them early enough. Like this spring fountain that was in the setup example, it is giving you water every turn. Well, that's really good if you can get it in round 2 or 3. If you get it in round 5, okay, cool. At that point, you are making so much constantly. You really have a money flow. So yeah. I think one thing that I sort of wanted, probably at the end, is a double selling phase. As far as I've understood in the rules, you can only sell one alcohol per turn. So if you have something aged, then on the final turn, you can sell one or the other. I would love to have an extra selling phase. You can get those coins as well, just to encourage you to continue. But of course, it's their decision to only have that, and then you just score the points, and you're losing out a little bit on the coins. But then again, that is sort of a decision, right? Like, do I want the points and the coins, or do I just want the points? Like, is there enough points over here? In my example, it would have been 40 plus points, which is absolutely insane. I really wish I had been capable of doing that more in the plays that we have had, to be capable of distilling that my signature in the second round. Usually I'm not capable of doing that, but like second or third round, that's when I need to do it to achieve 40 points. That was an insane count. So yeah, and that's of course also something. Like, I have had rounds where I'm like, okay, I need to make a rum. I've got the things for making rum. Okay, just not one, just one more. Oh, it's the same, and I don't make a rum. And I'm like, fuck. And the person I played with, he was like, I see that. I see you going fuck all the time. I'm like, yeah, I know, because they don't make the things that I want to make, and that's annoying. He then had a combo, which I also thought he didn't use fully. He had a combo which said, one distillery upgrade, only remove one card. The other one said, if you one of the cards you've removed, place it back in. And he always just said, well, I'm just keeping all of them. Because he could, like, that's fair. But I always thought, at least look what you're removing. Because if you're removing a yeast, water, or an alcohol, then it doesn't matter. Then you have that for next round. You don't have to worry about that next round. Like, because he spent his entire rounds in the basic market getting yeast and water, and then having to get the sugar elsewhere. that's limiting himself so much, and I think that's probably one of the main reasons that he only won by 1 point. He barely beat me. And if I, in that final round, like if I had made rum in that final round, which I didn't, I would have been golden. If I had made that rum, then I would have sold my whiskey that I had. I think it was my signature dish maybe or something. But I would have sold that, and then I would have achieved my second goal of having the most aged spirits, and I would have spirit labels, and I would have won by like, I think it was a 6-point thing. So I've won by like 5 points. And that's, I'm sitting thinking about that now, like, because I was unlucky, I now lost the game. Because I was unlucky. Because he didn't use his thing properly, he barely won. Because I was unlucky, I lost. That is annoying. That can happen. Like, it shouldn't happen that you're unlucky and then you lose. That's terrible. So, as you saw in the first clip, I cheated a little bit on the first one. A little bit. And we've done that a little bit throughout the game, where like we want to make something, we are going to make that. And that just happens because it's so annoying, and I don't like a game that has something that is so annoying in it. But still, I really like this game. Like, I'm making it sound like I really don't like this game, but I love this game. I love the fact that you have 3 goals in the first 3 rounds, and then you can see how it's going for you and try and choose. Sometimes it's really difficult, sometimes easy, sometimes you look, I'm going well on these 2, this one's out. When my opponent, he also made the mistake. He could have won by even more because he chose the wrong one, and he was like, maybe, maybe not, and then he lost the wrong one, and that went bad for him. I like the bottle collection thing. Like, it encourages you to buy those bottles by spending money. So it's like, that's a sort of a balancing thing, like getting that. And again, my opponent, he actually managed to buy a few bottles, but even though he was limiting himself, so that's, it just says something about how much money he was getting. Anyways. So these little aspects where it's like balancing your gameplay, I love it. Again, with the distillery upgrades, I usually don't buy them, I spend my money otherwise. But again, that's a choice that I'm making. That's a balancing thing that I'm choosing. The upgrades are good. This is usually in the first round. There are some that like can change your final few rounds where you need that extra bit of luck. Or that card is going to change everything for me. Great. So really, it is. I mean, I can't say, I love these aspects. Of course, there are things where like, we have an unlucky turn because I don't really have the cards I need. You sit a little bit annoyed. The luck is annoying, but you can do a lot of things to try and negate the luck, right? So I need to have 2 plant sugars. Okay, well let me add 3 or 4 plant sugars to maximize my chances. I mean, if you add 4, you're guaranteed to get 2, right? So sometimes you're unlucky, sometimes it goes exactly as you needed it. Exactly as you needed it. And it's, so I think it has a good balance. I've talked about this in Ticket to Ride. I love it when you balance luck and skill and tactic. This one has a little bit more luck than Ticket to Ride, where you can sit there and go, fuck's sake, because of the luck. But it's still managed to balance it pretty well. And the basic market is really, without the basic market, this game would be shit. But with the basic market, it really adds a balance to it. Great. So I really love the game, even though I had some complaints. I really do love this game. I really do. So, that's where we're at. Components. Components are great. I of course have upgraded metal coins. Freaking love them. But even the cardboard things in here, which is the round gold things, they were great. The coins that were in the punch out, I still got those of course. They were really good, high quality cardboard, thick, and the cards are great. The cubes are really good, they're distinct colors. Like, this is one where color matching is way more than in some other games. Still some off, of course, but color matching is way better in here. I love it. I love the symbols that you have to follow for the sugars and the barrels and all that. It's easy enough once you learn it. Of course, they're very small. That's probably a complaint for that. It's quite small, you need it to be a little bit bigger. And the green and the blue on like this is North Latin America and of course a lot Latin America and Europe. They will have green and blue. No, it's just the Americas and then Europe. They're blue and green. They do clash. You have to look twice sometimes. That falls out. But then you have the yellow and the red of Asia and Africa and the Middle East, and that's it. Those are easy to recognize, and all the it's only on the cards basically. Like it can be difficult to see. They do what they can to make it bigger, but yeah, but the symbols are so easy to understand once you've learned them. And you just have to learn them. I think that's the biggest hill, is learning it. It takes a couple of rounds to learn it. And I think it takes an entire game to properly learn it. But it's good. Endgame scoring is simple enough, right? It's not a lot of things, not a lot of math. It's a few things. But it's simple. I love the fact of with the bottle collection again, encouraging to get more different bottles. I haven't scored a lot of points from bottle collections yet. Again, I just spent my money differently. I have won 3 out of 4 games, so I think my tactic is working pretty well. I just need to, yeah, whatever. It's a game that encourages me to play more, because I want to play games where I focus on bottles. I want to play games where I get some upgrades in there and see how that can change my game. I want to play with different characters. I've played a lot with the Scottish/Irish persons making whiskey and the Jamaican person making rum, because those are my preferred ones. I want to make. But I want to play with one who makes gin. I want to play with one who makes grappa. I want to play with the one who makes, you know, whatever. I want to explore it. I don't want to play with the one who makes moonshine. That's terrible. It really is moonshine in place. So theme-wise, as I say, there are so many thematic touches. The bronze, silver, and gold tiers make sense for the alcohols, right? Like these are good, awesome alcohols. These are really good alcohols. These are the cheap ones. That's absolutely brilliant. In theme-wise, as I said, with theme again, it's very thematic, and then there's some touches. They do acknowledge a lot of that in the rulebook, and I think this is one of the best rulebooks ever written. I read this rulebook once, and I was like, okay, besides a few things I might have to check, I'm ready to play. I haven't done that a lot. Usually I will read some rulebooks through, a couple extra times or something, read a few paragraphs. This one, once, okay, let's set it up. And just, I have to check. If I have to check, that's always going to happen. But I feel ready. One of the best rulebooks ever. Incredibly thematic. Really love this game. Does it lie to you? 1 to 5 players, I know, this is it right here. 30 minutes per player, age 14 and up. Now, of course, this is something with alcohol, so you're going to talk about the age thing. Let's talk about just the gameplay thing. I think that's fairly accurate. Again, 14, 15. As I say, there's a lot of parts, a lot of things to know, think about, and looking over. You can't, you know, you need to have a certain level of brain, which comes with growing up, I think, without being super smart. So I think 14 and up sounds fair enough. 30 minutes per player. I love this, per player. I think, yeah, 30 to 45 minutes per player, it could easily go, depending on whether you know the game or you have to learn the game, of course, always. But yeah, makes a lot of sense with 30 minutes per player, and I love that it's per player. It's not just going for a range of 32. What's that? 1 to 5, that's 30. 1 hour, 2 hours. From 30 minutes to 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's a massive gap from 1 to 5 players. But 30 minutes per player, okay, you can do the math yourself. 1 to 5 players. As always, I don't play this at 1. I haven't played at 5, unfortunately, yet. 2 players we've played the most of course. Love it. It's a very duels back and forth. 3 in players, it's still really good. The board with the market changes up a lot more throughout that. And the 4 players, it's very much being changed up, and that's almost every single card. So you can't really look into the future on that one. And I think that lessens it for me. I don't know if I wanted to play at 5 players, because that's going to be a lot of changing. I cannot think ahead at all. I have no guarantee. At 2 or 3 I have some guarantee. At 4 players and 5 players I lose that guarantee. And I don't really want to play it. I love this game in that I can think a little bit ahead. And that I can do at 2 or 3 players. Where it doesn't change up as a crazy amount. Of course, you know that's one of the things you need. Your opponent takes it. That's always have a possibility of happening. But, you know, at 4 or 5 players, so much change in the markets and all that could happen that I can't predict it. I don't think I would have a great of a playing experience. So 2 or 3 is preferred for me. 4 and 5 is fine. I've played it for 4 players, it was fine, it was still a good game, still love it. But 2 or 3 is very much preferred to play of this one. So, what's my final score for it? As I have a lot of critique to it, and I have a lot of love to it. And it's just going back and forth. But I just think it has to be a 9. It can't be a 10 out of 10 for me because of those log aspects. But it's so many good things, so many things that I love. It's 9, thumbs up, arrow up, whatever. I don't know what you would. It's 9 plus right now. Is that how you say it? Whatever. so brilliant. It's really good. It's 9.5. Now, I only give clear numbers. It's a 9. It's really good 9. I love it. A little bit less luck, and then it would be a 10, I think. I think it's the luck thing that takes me out of it the most. And a few other things. So it's a 9, it's clear 9. Is it staying in my collection? Of course it bloody is. Well, the question is, am I keeping it? Yes, I am. I want to play this a lot more. I want to play with different characters. Now, actually, I can mention for the character thing, you don't get to choose. It's sort of like you get 2, and then you choose from those 2, but in this we just played with you choose. What do you want? Is it preferred alcohol? Is it someone who looks like you? Is it a preferred nationality? Whatever, you just choose. And I've seen some play, and it changed. But I go for the alcohol. I want to make specific alcohol. I'll go for that. My one player I played with, he also did the same. Another player, he went for someone who looks like him. My wife went for there's a Swede in here, so that's sort of Nordic. Unfortunately, there's no Dane in it. So that's what she sort of went for. It's a different thing, but of course you can also do the 2 things. That'd be interesting to do once or twice, but I don't think I want to continue doing that. I think I want the choice. Yeah, and you only need to remember you use the power. So it's a great game. I want to play it a lot more. I know that I have some comrades who want to play it more. Definitely. I mean, they've both said it that if they, in like not every single time, but definitely if I bring it, they would play it with me again. So yeah, keeping it. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time. Bye!